So friends, welcome back. In the last video we have discussed the method of contact to accumulate charge on any object. So that was we have studied that by making a contact to a charged body, we have seen that we have a metallic sphere, we want to charge it, we want to electrify it, then we need another metallic sphere which has already a certain amount of charge. Say it has a positive charge of value q, and if we make a contact, okay, by wire or physical contact, then the charge will be transferred to another sphere, okay, and in that case the charge will be half. So in that manner the charge will be q by 2 in both the cases, okay. In this certain method we have assumed that the spheres, these both spheres are identical. If they are identical, then charge will be equal. This can be understood that we have a water tank here. Suppose we have a water tank here and another identical water tank here, okay, and this water tank has certain amount of water, say L liters of the water, and if we make a pipe contact between these two tanks, then the water will be transferred to another tank by L by 2 and L by 2 in both the cases, okay. Similarly here the charge will be transferred to another sphere by half. So this simple method we have discussed. Now another method is the method of induction. The method of induction. In this method we don't need any charge object initially. So suppose that we have a metallic sphere here, and we want to make charge the metallic sphere, we want to electrify the metallic sphere. So suppose that this is the metallic sphere which is placed on wooden stand to make it isolate, and we want to get it charged. So we will take, suppose we will take a glass rod or say a plastic rod, and that plastic rod we will rub it to a fur or wool cloth, and in that case the plastic rod will be negatively charged, okay, and we will bring this plastic rod near to this sphere, okay. So we are not making any contact to the sphere, we just bringing this metallic plastic rod which is negatively charged, we will bring it closer to the metallic sphere. So if we get it closer to the metallic sphere, the electrons within this sphere will be repulsed by the electron here, and so they will go far away possible, okay. Or in other words, the positive charge in the sphere will be attracted by the negative charge here, so they will come possibly near to the plastic rod, okay. So this will happen. Suppose here is isolated metal sphere, we will bring negatively charged plastic rod to the sphere, that will attract the positive charge, or we can say they will repel the negative charge within the sphere away, possibly away, so they will gather at the another edge of the sphere, okay. Now we will make a wire contact to the ground, we will ground the metallic sphere. By saying ground, that means we will just take a conducting wire, we will touch one end here at the metallic sphere and another to the ground. Okay, so doing so, the electron in this sphere will be go inside the ground because they are repulsing. Okay, so by making a ground contact, we will get rid of this electron because they will get into the ground. Okay, now we will remove this wire contacts because we are not needing them anymore, and we also remove the plastic rod. So the remaining charge in the sphere is now positively charged. It will scatter throughly and distribute throughly the sphere. Now our sphere is positively charged. So in this method we had not make any contact. We just bring the negatively charged rod. Similarly, we can bring positively charged rod. Okay, suppose, okay, next example, suppose we have a sphere and we want it charged. This time we will bring a glass rod. We will rub the glass rod to the silk cloth, and in that way the glass rod will be positively charged. Suppose the glass rod is positively charged. Now bring it closer to the sphere. If we bring it closer to the sphere, the electrons within the sphere will be attracted by the positive charge of glass rod, so they will come at this edge. Okay, and at the far end the positive charge will be repulsed and they will gather here. Okay, so opposite to the previous case, the electron will be attracted by the positive charge of this rod, and this positive charge is repulsed, so it will get away. Now we will make a ground contact. Okay, so if we touch a wire to the sphere and to the ground, the electron within the ground from the earth, this is called earthing otherwise, the electrons from the earth, they will attracted by the positive charge and they will nullify the exact amount of the electron will be attracted by the positive charge and they will nullify, and so the positive negative charge together makes a neutral. Now we will remove the ground contact. Okay, now the remaining charge in the sphere is negative. If we remove the glass rod, then the negative charge will be uniformly distributed. The negative charge will be uniformly distributed throughout the sphere. So this is simple method of induction. This is how we can make any object electrify, charge. Okay, so this is to understand. Now the most important thing, the Coulomb's law. So our first IMP theory is Coulomb's law. You will I will provide you the PDF. You will write down the theory into your notebook. So it is our first IMP theory of the Coulomb's law. So friends, French scientist Charles Coulomb measured electrical attraction and repulsion between two electric charges through a number of experiments. So friend, this is the French scientist Charles Coulomb who first made carried out some experiment about the charge, their attraction, their repulsion. Okay, he was army general somewhere in West Indies. After coming back to his country, because of his interest in physics, he carried out some of this experiment, and the idea of the Coulomb's experiment was from the Newton's gravitational law. Okay, he get the idea from the gravitational law, which is inverse square law. So what we have learned in the gravitational law, Newton's universal gravitational law in 11th standard, let's recall it first and then we will get to Coulomb's experiment. So in 11th standard in the chapter of gravitation, we understood that if we have two particles of say mass m1 and m2, these two particles are apart by the distance r. Okay, so as stated in the gravitational law, they will attract each other by the magnitude of force which is proportional to the gravitational force which is proportional to the mass of each particle. So the multiplication of mass of each particle m1 m2 and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So we got at that time f proportional m1 into m2 by r square, and thus the full equation was f is equal to g, which is universal gravitational constant, m1 the mass of one particle, m2 the mass of second particle, by the distance between them. So basically Charles Coulomb got idea from the Newton's gravitational law and concluded his electrical rule. So let's get to Coulomb's law. Okay, suppose we have two point charges. Most remember this one, that Coulomb's law is applicable for point charges only. We have to consider, we have to assume these are two tiny point charges, say the charge of electron, charge of proton, just like that. These are two point charges of the charge of magnitude q1 and q2. The value of this charge, is q1 q2, and they are both positive charge. So these are two point charges, and since they are two positive charges and say they are apart by the distance r, just like in our case of gravitation, since they are both positively charged, they will repulse each other. They will impart a force F and they will repulse each other in opposite direction, just like opposite to attraction. They will repulse each other by the force which is proportional to the values of these both charges, just like our case of gravitation. So the magnitude of charges, which is q1 q2, okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, just like the law, just like the rule of gravitation. Okay, in that case F proportional m1 m2 by r square, in Coulomb's law it is q1 q2 by r square. So this was verified by the Charles Coulomb. The force between two point charges is proportional to the product of the charge and inversely proportional to the square, the distance between them. Now to fulfill the equation we require a constant by putting or assuming constant k. So it is k q1 q2 by r square. Okay, so this is the Coulomb's law. It is very simple and very similar to the law of gravitation. So F is equal to k q1 q2 by r square. Here the k, the constant k, okay, constant k is called Coulomb's constant, and he acquired the value by carried out some experiment or torsion balance, the instrument which is called torsion balance. So using this torsion balance apparatus instrument, he carried out the values of the k, and the practical value that we will use in our 12th standard is k is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 9. Okay, so the SI value for the Coulomb's constant, it is 9 into 10 raised to 9, and you will remember, very obviously you will remember what will be the unit that can be understood here. If we make k subject, then the equation is f r square by q1 q2. Okay, so making k subject, we will get equation f r square by q1 q2. Here the unit for f is Newton, the unit for distance it is meter, so it is meter square. Okay, and in division it is q1 q2, they both are charges, so it is coulomb coulomb, so coulomb square. So the unit for the k that you will remember, Newton meter square by coulomb square. It is also similar to the universal constant of gravitation. Here the unit for the j, which is Newton meter square by kilogram square. You remember this, right? So it is Newton meter square by kilogram square, and here it is Newton meter square by coulomb square. So this is, we will understand here. So the French scientist Charles Coulomb measured electrical attraction and repulsion between two electrical charges through number of experiments and deduced the law that governs them, which is known as Coulomb's law. The law is as under, it can be stated as the electrical force, or say Coulombian force, the electrical force between two stationary point charges. Okay, this must be in your statement definition. Two stationary point charges, okay, they must be steady and they must be point charges. So the electrical force between two stationary point charges is directly proportional to the product of their charges. It is proportional to the product of their charges q1 q2, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So our equation is f k q1 q2 by r square, where k is Coulomb's constant. Its value depends on the unit of q1 q2 and r. Okay, this we can just skip, okay, because we will mostly consider the value for the charge, it is coulomb, and distance can be measured in meter. Experimentally, the value of k in vacuum in SI unit is 8.9875 into 10 raised to 9. Okay, for practical purpose, in our book, in our calculation, everywhere we will use k 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square, and this can bring you some surprise in CGS unit. So it is in SI unit, okay, the value that we concluded, it is in SI, but in CGS unit the value of k is 1. Okay, here is some few things that I would like to tell you. So the actual value for the vacuum, okay, you must have to remember that this value is applicable for vacuum. So for the vacuum, the value of k is 9 into 10 raised to 9. It can be vary, it can be changed for other mediums like water, like oil, or any other medium. The value will be different, but for the vacuum the value is 9 into 10 raised to 9 for the practical purposes. So in the beginning, when the Charles was carried out the experiments, and at that time he did not know or did not deduce any unit for the charge. Can you understand what I mean to say? At that time when he was carried out the experiment, the unit for the charge was not known to anybody, okay, since there was no discovery of the electron, proton, and the modern physics was not developed yet. So he just assumed that the unit for the k will be 1. Okay, doing so the equation will be easy. F is equal to just q1 Q2 by R square, and he can easily carried out this experiment so far. So can you be surprised with this decision that K can be 1? Can anybody assume that K can be 1, और किसी भी हालत में हम कोई भी इक्वेशन में कांस्टेंट 1 ले सकते हैं? सो द आंसर इज यस और नो, बिकॉज इफ़ वी चूज K एज इज इक्वल टू 1, अगर हम कांस्टेंट K इज इक्वल टू 1 लेते हैं तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग हमको आंसर मिलेंगे. अगर आप पायोनियर हैं, आप फर्स्ट पर्सन है जो एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं, और अगर आपने सोचा कि K की वैल्यू 1 लेते हैं तो इससे कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा, आगे के जो भी कैलकुलेशन आएंगे उसके अकॉर्डिंग आएंगे. डू यू रिमेंबर इन द 11th स्टैंडर्ड दैट the velocity of transverse wave and longitudinal wave, स्ट्रिंग में जो वेव्स बनते हैं उसके वेलोसिटी का इक्वेशन हमने बनाया था वो डायमेंशनल फार्मूला से. सो इक्वेशन था K अंडर रूट T बाय म्यू और T बाय M. डू यू रिमेंबर दैट इन द 11th स्टैंडर्ड? ओके. एंड लास्ट में हमने सोचा कि एक्सपेरिमेंटली अगर हम जाएंगे तो K की वैल्यू 1 हो जाएंगी. सो सिंपल इक्वेशन बनेगा V इज इक्वल टू अंडर रूट T बाय म्यू. सो इन दैट केस हमने भी सोचा था कि K की वैल्यू अगर हम 1 ले लेते हैं तो इक्वेशन इजी बन जाएगा. सो दिस वॉज आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू अबाउट दैट. एट दैट टाइम Charles Coulomb also thought by taking K as equal 1 the equation will be easy and further experiment can be carried out. Okay, now let's go further. शुरू से अगर बोलते हैं तो F proportional Q1 Q2 by R square, thus we got equation K Q1 Q2 by R square. ओके. K की वैल्यू भी हमने डिसाइड कर दी. वैक्यूम के लिए हम प्रैक्टिकल वैल्यू लेंगे 9 इंटू 10⁹. ओके. डू नॉट फॉरगेट द यूनिट विच इज़ न्यूटन मीटर स्क्वायर बाय कूलम स्क्वायर. ओके. नाउ इन फ्यूचर 5-6 थियरी के बाद इसी चैप्टर में हम देखेंगे कि अगर K की जगह हम 1 बाय 4 पाई एप्साइलॉन नॉट, K की जगह हम 1 बाय 4 पाई एप्साइलॉन 0 अगर लेंगे तो हमारे इक्वेशन जो है वो इजी हो जाएंगे. पर यहाँ पर आप सोचेंगे कि ये एप्साइलॉन 0 एप्साइलॉन नॉट क्या है. तो ये जो एप्साइलॉन 0 है, एप्साइलॉन नॉट हम जो बोलते हैं, एप्साइलॉन 0 जो है उसको कहते हैं परमिटिविटी ऑफ द वैक्यूम. And you will come to understand what is the permittivity in the second chapter. So here, for the simplification of the formula in electrostatics, for the simplification, मैंने बताया इस तरह हम देखेंगे कि K की वैल्यू 1 बाय 4 पाई एप्साइलॉन 0 अगर हम लेंगे तो हमारा इक्वेशन जो होगा वो इजी बन जाएगा. ओके. सो द K इज एक्सप्रेस्ड एज 1 बाय 4 पाई एप्साइलॉन 0 एप्साइलॉन नॉट. सो K इज इक्वल 1 बाय 4 पाई एप्साइलॉन नॉट, वेयर एप्साइलॉन नॉट इज कॉल्ड परमिटिविटी ऑफ फ्री स्पेस. अगर किसी मीडियम की परमिटिविटी अगर कंसीडर करेंगे तो वो एप्साइलॉन बनेगी, और वैक्यूम की लेंगे तो वो एप्साइलॉन 0 रहेगी. ओके. एप्साइलॉन 0 वैक्यूम की परमिटिविटी है. परमिटिविटी एक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है मीडियम की. दैट इज सम काइंड ऑफ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स यू कैन सिंपली अज्यूम हाउ द मीडियम रिएक्ट्स टू द कूलम्बियन फोर्स. अगर हम चार्ज को वाटर में रखेंगे तो कितना फोर्स लगेगा, अगर वही चार्ज को हम एयर में रखेंगे तो कितना फोर्स लगेगा. दैट विल डिपेंड ऑन द परमिटिविटी ऑफ द मीडियम. सो परमिटिविटी इज काइंड ऑफ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स दैट विल परमिट और डू नॉट परमिट द attraction, repulsion, the Coulombian force. So we will better understand in the second chapter. So permittivity को अगर हम कंसिडर करते हैं तो हमारा इक्वेशन k इज इक्वल 1/4πε के मुताबिक f इज इक्वल टू k की जगह हम क्या लिखेंगे 1/4πε0 और वी विल से एप्सिलॉन नॉट एप्सिलॉन 0 q1 q2 by r square. So this is the another equation, just replacing k by 1/4πε0. यहाँ पर ये जो एप्सिलॉन 0 है उसकी वैल्यू भी हम रिमेंबर करें, उसको भी हम मेमोराइज करेंगे 8.854 इंटू 10⁻⁻12। कैसे ऑब्टेन करेंगे, यहाँ पर सिंपल ऑब्टेन कर सकते हैं। एप्सिलॉन 0 इज इक्वल टू 1/4πk। ओके, यहाँ पर k की वैल्यू हमको मालूम है 9 इंटू 10⁻9। वैल्यू रिप्लेस करेंगे हम तो एप्सिलॉन 0 की जो वैल्यू है वो बन जाएगी 8.854 इंटू 10⁻12 और यूनिट भी इन्वर्स हो जाएगा। k का जो यूनिट था उससे इन्वर्स बन जाएगा। तो k का यूनिट क्या था, न्यूटन मीटर स्क्वायर बाय कूलम स्क्वायर, उसका ऑपोजिट और इन्वर्स कूलम स्क्वायर बाय न्यूटन मीटर स्क्वायर। ओके, सो एप्सिलॉन नॉट जो है वो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स मीडियम की है, मतलब कि परमिटिविटी जो है उसको हम सेकंड चैप्टर तक कंसिडर करेंगे। उसकी वी विल टॉक अबाउट द परमिटिविटी इन द सेकंड चैप्टर। So this is the equation for the force in vacuum only, because the permittivity vacuum के लिए। अगर कोई मीडियम के लिए अगर चाहिए इक्वेशन, सपोज फॉर एनी मीडियम से दोनों चार्ज जो है हमने वाटर में रखे हैं, पानी के अंदर, अगर पानी के अंदर सेपरेशन में दोनों चार्ज रखे हैं, ओके, तो मीडियम के लिए ये जो फोर्स का इक्वेशन है वो कैसा बनेगा, तो फॉर एनी मीडियम से Fm इज इक्वल टू 1/4π, यहाँ पर मीडियम जो है फॉर एन इंस्टेंस यहाँ पर वाटर है तो उसकी जो परमिटिविटी होगी वो रखनी पड़ेगी। सो 1/4π एप्सिलॉन द परमिटिविटी ऑफ मीडियम, ओके, द एप्सिलॉन Q1 Q2 बाय जो डिस्टेंस है उसका स्क्वायर। सो द फोर्स for the medium will be Fm is equal to 1/4π एप्सिलॉन। ओके, ये जो दोनों इक्वेशन है, ये इक्वेशन वैक्यूम के लिए है, ये इक्वेशन मीडियम के लिए है। अगर उसका हम रेशियो लेते हैं, ओके, तो क्या हमें मिलेगा, चलो वो देखते हैं। सो अगर रेशियो लेते हैं तो F/Fm ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड इट इज F/Fm इज इक्वल टू ऑन द राइट साइड अगर रेशियो लेते हैं तो Q1 Q2 बाय स्क्वायर, दोनों के लिए कॉमन है वो निकल जाएगा रेशियो लेते हैं। ओके, 1/4π निकल जाएगा, तो नॉमिनेटर में रहेगा 1/ε0, ओके, और डिनोमिनेटर में रहेगा 1/ε। सो फर्दर इक्वेशन बनेगा 1/ε जो डिनोमिनेटर में है वो नॉमिनेटर में जाएगा और जो ε0 है वो डिनोमिनेटर में आएगा। सो एप्सिलॉन बाय एप्सिलॉन नॉट। ओके, हियर इज फ्यू थिंग्स दैट वी वुड लाइक टू डिस्कस। जो सेकंड चैप्टर की मैंने बात की थी, जो हम एप्सिलॉन परमिटिविटी जो है सेकंड चैप्टर में हम डिस्कस करेंगे, वहाँ पर हम ये भी देखेंगे ये जो रेशियो है द परमिटिविटी ऑफ मीडियम बाय द परमिटिविटी ऑफ वैक्यूम, ये जो है उसकी भी हम डिस्कशन करेंगे वहाँ पर। और ये जो रेशियो है उसको हम कहते हैं द रिलेटिव परमिटिविटी एप्सिलॉन एंड इट इज़ रिलेटिव, सो एप्सिलॉन आर, दिस इज कॉल्ड रिलेटिव परमिटिविटी। द परमिटिविटी ऑफ मीडियम विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द परमिटिविटी ऑफ वैक्यूम। अगर किसी मीडियम की परमिटिविटी हम वैक्यूम की रिस्पेक्ट में मेज़र करते हैं तो वो रिस्पेक्टिव और रिलेटिव परमिटिविटी बन जाएंगी। So it is called relative permittivity, otherwise it is called the dielectric constant K, okay, we will discuss this in second chapter, but for now you have to just remember the ratio of epsilon by epsilon naught, which is called K, the dielectric constant. वो भी मीडियम की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है. सो यहाँ पर एफ बाय एफ एम का जो इक्वेशन है, एफ द फोर्स इन वैक्यूम बाय एफ एम द फोर्स इन एनी मीडियम, ओके, is equal to, we just got, it is dielectric constant K. Okay, so here Fm उसको सब्जेक्ट बनाते हैं, तो Fm द फोर्स इन एनी मीडियम इज इक्वल टू K डिवीजन में जाएगा तो F बाय K. You only have to remember this one. Okay, the rest thing is just deduction. So the force in any medium is equal to the force in vacuum by K. What idea is given here? ये जो इक्वेशन है वो बताता है कि अगर दो जो चार्ज है उसको हम वैक्यूम में रखेंगे और दोनों चार्ज के बीच में अगर फोर्स F है, बाद में अगर ये जो दोनों चार्ज है उसको किसी मीडियम में रखेंगे, लाइक दिस वाटर, किसी मीडियम में हम प्लेस करेंगे, ओके, और उसका जो फोर्स होगा, मीडियम में जो फोर्स होगा, वो फोर्स एफ एम विल बी एफ बाय के. इट इज 1 बाय के टाइम्स द फोर्स ऑफ वैक्यूम. सो मीडियम में अगर हम दोनों चार्ज को रखेंगे तो फोर्स जो है वो के टाइम्स रिड्यूस हो जाएगा. ओके, सो दैट मस्ट बी नोटेड इन द थियरी. सो इट इज Fm is equal to F by K. It says it is clear that the force between given charges held at given distance apart in insulating medium is only 1 by K times. So kth part of the force between them in vacuum. तो सबसे ज़्यादा फोर्स कहाँ पर होगा? You will simply answer in the vacuum. अगर किसी मीडियम में अगर रखेंगे हम, मीडियम इंसुलेटिंग मीडियम, मस्ट बी इंसुलेटिंग मीडियम, ओके, अगर मीडियम में रखेंगे तो फोर्स है वो केथ पार्ट का हो जाएगा, मतलब 1 बाय के टाइम्स हो जाएगा. सपोज अगर जो वैक्यूम है वहाँ पर फोर्स हमारा 10 न्यूटन है समझो, और जो मीडियम में हम रखने जा रहे हैं, ओके, वी वर डिस्कसिंग दैट द फोर्स इन द वैक्यूम say it is 10 Newton, and the medium which has dielectric constant, say it is 2. Okay, dielectric constant has no unit, remember that. So the value of dielectric constant for the given medium is say 2. So the force in the medium will be simply 10 the force in the vacuum by 2, and it is now 5 Newton. Okay, so this is how we can understand the force in medium. So how you will prepare for this theory? So this theory is particularly asked for the 2 marks. Okay, it is IMP theory. You will simply write that it is not needed, these things are not needed to write. Okay, the Coulomb's law is given as, okay, the law is given as, and you will write the definition or the law, the statement, the electric force between two stationary point charge is directly proportional to the product of the charge and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, up to this, and thus you will write according to Coulomb's law, the electric force between two point charges Q1 Q2, you will write F proportional Q1 Q2 by R square. So F is equal to K Q1 Q2 by R square. After that you will introduce K. K is called Coulomb's constant. Okay, it is not needed, you won't write this. Okay, K is called Coulomb constant. Practically, the value of K in vacuum 9 into 10 raised to 9. Okay, this is not needed. For practical purpose, the value of K in vacuum, it is 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square by Coulomb square. You will also write, for the simplification of formula in electrostatic, K is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is called permittivity of free space and the value of epsilon naught, it is 8.854 coulomb square per Newton meter square. Okay, thus the equation F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 bar square. Okay, and this will be neglected. Okay, for any medium, the force in any medium, it is 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by square, and so simply this is all not needed. Okay, so it is Fm is equal to F by K. So just ignore these things. Okay, when you write down in your notebook, I will provide this PDF along with the link in this video. So it is clear that the force between given charges held at given distance in the medium is only 1 by K times the force between them in vacuum. So up to this you will write in this theory. Okay, I hope you will understand what I mean here. Coulomb's law is very similar law to the gravitational law, and this is the IMP theory, so we will give some importance to it.